What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Get 'Em Podcast, where we talk about all the things that excite us, piss us off, and all the above in the gaming industry. I'm your host, Nick, with my co-host here, Stuart. How we doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a long week already. It's only Wednesday.
You know,
But life goes on, and these podcasts give me life, so I can keep going on, make it
that's
to Sunday for the next podcast.
that's the truth, man. This week, dude, I feel I'm just exhausted. Honestly, it's
Mhm.
Wednesday, and I am just dead already. I'm like, I want this week to be over. I'm
Dude, I'm
ready.
looking over at my bed. It's beckoning me. It's calling me
Dude,
home.
I am exhausted right now, bro. I mean, I told you that I've been getting up a lot earlier now, and it
Mhm.
has just been fucking railing me at night, honestly. I mean, I am just so tired at night, dude. It's ridiculous.
Although, to be fair, that's a pretty good feeling to be tired at night.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, that would be terrible not to be tired. I've had
That's
that.
me.
I've had that where you literally sit in bed and you're like, this is god awful. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
tired at all.
I've gotten up and just walked around because, like, A, I had nothing better to do.
Mhm.
B, I wasn't going to sleep. And C, I had to do something. So,
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. I could talk about my life all day long and, but what's not. So let's talk about gaming in general. So pretty much where the gaming industry is currently, where we think it's going to go in the future, about microtransactions, new games coming out, all kinds of different stuff, and how it's shaping the gaming industry. What are your key opinions here, Stuart, about the gaming industry in the future? Do you think that it's going downhill? Do you think it's going to be all right? What do you think? Do you think it'll be more of a competitive standpoint now that esports is becoming a bigger thing, or what?
yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I didn't really think about the impact that esports is going to have and has had already. I think as time goes on, the accessibility to gaming is only going to go up even further. I mean,
Yeah.
it's super easy to access games now, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's sure they can be kind of expensive. Consoles are anywhere from like $300-400, and PCs. Let's not talk about how high those go in price.
Yeah. Seriously.
But at the same time, I feel like nowadays you have way more people playing games. I don't know, what, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, when people played in games, they were nerdy, they were the just weirdos, right? Not wasn't very popular, I guess. Like people
Hmm.
enjoyed them, but they didn't stick with them. They didn't do all the stuff. And nowadays we have full on adults, streaming, and that's their job. They play video
Yeah.
games for a living, and YouTubers, and like I don't know. I think that's really cool. I think it's only going to get more accessible to people, especially as just infrastructure in general spreads out more in the world.
Did you know that the United States Army actually has an esports team?
What?
Yeah, the United States Army actually has an esports team. It says U.S. Army Esports is an esports team sponsored by the United States Army. The team, which consists of active duty and reserve personnel, was announced in November 2018 as a public outreach, and it operates in Fort Knox, Kentucky-based Army marketing and engagement team, whatever. But
That's
that's
sick.
that's wild, dude. But I know
I
that
did not know that.
I know my little brother, his school has an esports team as well. So esports are becoming a big thing. I really do think that this sounds wild, but it might be an Olympic sport one day, really, with how big it's just gotten. You know what I mean? I mean, who knows?
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I mean, there's definitely worldwide competitiveness in it, right? And there's definitely we
Hmm.
have tournaments of people coming all over the world. Do I see Olympic status with athletes? I mean, it's one of it's the debate of are cheerleaders athletes, right? And we're not
Yeah.
going to get into that because we're not trying to throw up any flags, but at the same time, like I think it's going to be the same type of thing where oh well, you just sit down and play video games. You're actually an athlete.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, a lot of people say that, but if you look at like streamers in general or even YouTubers, and people are like, all you do is play video games all day, but they really don't realize how much it takes to edit videos, make the videos, and everything in between that. I mean, it's literally it's a big job. I mean, people
mhm.
spend about 8 hours or more a day doing that stuff. I mean, just the little bit that I do for Instagram, it still takes me a good amount of time to make sure that I know what I'm going to market to the people, what they want to see, what they like, what video is going to do best, why it's going to do the best. I mean, you literally have to look at these things if you want your videos to get any kind of traction whatsoever.
Right.
So,
It's I mean, it's no down work. No
That's true.
doubt. Gosh,
Yeah.
no doubt it's work. I mean, even just this podcast, there's a lot more work than people probably expect.
Yeah.
There's more work than I expected than when we started. No, I'm loving it, absolutely, and I wouldn't change anything. But I mean, a lot of things happen behind the scenes that most people don't see.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, that's the thing. Even with some of the streamers as well. I mean, they have full-time jobs and then they come home and then they're trying to
mhm.
do like a part-time job almost. I mean, that's how some of this stuff feels. So, but getting away from that a little bit, I mean, gaming in general, I feel like it is in a good light right now. I feel like it's going to continue to expand as it is now. I don't know if they'll ever make a different kind of console to break away from PlayStation, Xbox, the Switch, and all of that. Um, but I don't know. What do you feel like?
Well, we have the
Yeah, that's
Stadia
true. That's a new one
that
that just
just
came
came
out.
out.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's going to change anything. I don't think it's going to really take off as Google's hoping. Um, Xbox, Sony, so ingrained at this point. Nintendo has their own little niche. They have their
Yeah.
own corner that they deal with.
Well, actually, before we move on, there was a question from the Instagram world of somebody
Let's hear it.
asking us to state exactly how we feel about the Nintendo Switch. Do we like it? Do we hate it? Have you ever used it before?
I've personally not used it. No, I have friends who have it. My roommate has one.
Hmm.
Um, I think they're awesome. I mean, I grew up when I was growing up. I had a PSP when those were big when they came
Yeah.
out. I think they came out at the wrong time. I don't think
Yeah.
handheld devices were, ready yet. I mean, it was great. It was way ahead of its time, but I don't think the market was ready for it. I don't think people wanted it.
Yeah.
The Switch
Well,
came out, which is like the same thing essentially.
yeah.
Blew up. I love the idea of it. I think it's great.
It did, but Nintendo has a very strong backing, and that's pretty much, I believe, Pokemon. People like when the Game
Mhm.
Boys first came out and everything. That's basically all I played on Game Boys was Pokemon and Donkey Kong and crazy stuff like that. But Pokemon
Mhm.
was the main basis for what I played. And even if I got the Nintendo Switch, I'd probably try the new Pokemon Shield and whatever the hell it's called.
Sword and Shield.
Yeah, Sword and Shield. I'd play that, as well as probably download Skyrim for the 20th time, remade. But I mean, whatever. I mean, I've
Has
only
there been a
bought.
video game milked as much as Skyrim has?
I don't think so, dude. I've bought that game on Xbox 360, Xbox
Yep.
One,
Yep.
PC, and I would buy it on Nintendo. And I believe it's even in VR on PC,
I
which
think
is
you're right.
crazy.
Yeah.
And maybe on PlayStation 4 as well. It is on VR. Um, But anyway, going back to the Switch, I really think that it's a great device. I feel like if you're on a long flight or you're just kind of riding in the car or hanging out and you have some
Mhm.
downtime, I mean, I love to play video games, so I would definitely whip out a Switch. They're still $300. Can you believe that?
That's wild.
That is
That's
wild.
actually crazy.
I'm surprised it hasn't dropped prices yet. But if you guys are in the market for a Switch, I would definitely stay tuned for Black Friday or Cyber Monday and probably cop one for maybe $50 off or something somewhere. Not 100% sure on that price, so don't quote me, but just look for it.
I think another unique aspect to the Switch that others don't have, that Xbox doesn't really have, the PlayStations don't really have, PC doesn't even really have, is just the connectability you can have with people in the same room. And
Hmm,
Switch has such a Nintendo in general has just had all the games that have been party games, right?
that's true. Yeah.
Just sit in a room with 4 people or 5 or whatever it is, and you can just play together. Split screen it or, like the Mario Party game.
Hmm.
Um, you don't really have those on Xbox and on PlayStation and PC. That's a
That's
cool
true.
aspect that you can have, especially in a family setting.
Well, I will say the Xbox tried to do it with the Kinect, but it totally flunked. But I mean, with
Connect,
like their
yeah.
Dance Revolution games and like the tennis games and stuff that they had, it was for parties basically, but it didn't take off as well as the Switch does. I
Mhm.
mean, the Switch it's amazing how much of that console you use. I mean, you can give one joystick to yourself and then the other joystick to a friend, and you guys can literally use those to play tennis or like
Yep.
do boxing, all kinds of things. I
Mhm.
mean, it's very, it's just insane that you can use so much of that console. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't waste anything on it. Which actually takes me to, this is kind of way off topic, but the PlayStation controller. that thing's insane. Like when I first grabbed that thing and put it in my hand, I mean, you can literally use the touchpad for so much. Coming from the Xbox, I never knew that you could do so
Yeah.
much with a controller. So
Although you'd be surprised at the lack of games that actually utilize that
yeah,
functionality.
that's true.
I've only played a couple that actually like legitimately use it and are active with it. Oftentimes, I think in most games, click it and takes you to like the main menu or
Hmm. But some of them have where like you have to like shake the controller to do
hmm
certain things in the
right.
game, or swipe on the touchpad for certain things. Which I mean, it's really cool. I like
hmm
when consoles or just manufacturers in general think outside the box a little bit for
Right.
their devices that they sell. Um,
Agreed.
I feel like now this is just my own standpoint, but I feel like Xbox is more of a competitive standpoint. I feel like PlayStation, and don't get mad, Sony ponies, but I feel like you guys are more of like a leisure kind of thing. And I feel like PC is big time competitive. I feel like PlayStation's more of like a leisure kind of thing. So maybe that's why they implemented so much to their controllers. Whereas Xbox is solely you have this controller game. I mean, that's all you got.
Mm.
So I don't know. But moving on, and kind of going back to what we were talking about before with the esports and everything. Like I said, my brother's on an esports team. The United States Army has esports teams. I feel like in the future that's going to continue to grow. I believe down in Texas, um, I might have to look this up in a minute, but I believe in Texas they are currently making a video game stadium basically where you can go down and play competitive against people. Have you heard about that?
No.
Let me look that up real quick. You can fill in some blank time here with your lovely voice.
No, but I really like the idea of esports teams getting bigger. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of money there, and that has been proven time and time again with all the tournaments. I mean, Fortnite has really kind of pushed that forward. CS:GO is a big one. They've been going for a long time. Rainbow Six Siege, they have, their pro league. They have a bunch of different teams. They have people who aren't even in like officially rostered team that
Hmm.
can compete to then try to work their way into the pro league. I really like that mechanic. Really like the whole idea of not necessarily the underdog, but just anyone can become a team if you're good enough, you work for it. I
Yeah.
really really like that.
Actually, this place is already made. It is, it says about us, it's 100,000 square feet. Esports Stadium in Arlington is the largest dedicated esports facility in North America. This facility serves as a turnkey solution for esports events and productions, built to serve the unique needs and demands of the esport community. So let's see here. What's the date today? November 20th. They actually had what's called a Stadium Royale for Fortnite. It's a weekly battle royale event.
Hmm.
So that's actually kind of cool. Let's see. It says the schedule is at 5 o'clock. Registration opens. 5:45 registration closes. 6 o'clock qualification wave A begins. 7 o'clock qualification wave B begins, and then at 8 o'clock they had the final wave begins. Venue price was 10, tournament fee 10, and headset rentals 4. So it's
Ooh,
basically, I mean, that's pretty neat. I might actually go visit this place one day. That would be pretty cool to see.
that's pretty sweet. Yeah, that's a cool idea. We'll probably see that pop up more over the uh, country as time goes on, I would imagine.
Hmm. Our Fortnite tournaments will be played on PC, but controllers may be used. I wonder if it's mainly a PC facility or if they have Xbox stuff as well.
I don't know.
But I mean, if you were trying to get like recognized or something like this,
Mhm.
like here they have a weekly event for Thursday. It's Modern Warfare 2v2 gunfight. Uh,
Really?
we should get. Oh, it's on PlayStation 4. But I guess I would imagine that they, yeah, you just bring your controllers and your headset and you just plug them in. They have everything. They have all the Xboxes, all the PS4s, and everything. You can rent controllers and stuff if you want it. But I mean, let's be honest. I smoke anybody on any controller or mouse. Well, I don't know. I try to play PC gunfight. That was a little rough. But
It feels
controllers,
so much better, dude, once you get used to it. I promise.
yeah. Man, that's crazy, dude. All right, so listen to this. I'm sorry if we're just going on a rant here about this place, but it says pricing $20 per team. with a max prize pool of $640.
That's cool.
There's 32 teams that come in. And all competitors. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you'd have to be 18 years old in order, because that's almost like gambling,
Yeah.
in a sense. So,
Although I think Rainbow Six, I think they're 16. I think that's the requirement. Maybe it is older than that. I don't know, actually. 17? Might be
yeah,
17.
that's just crazy to me that something like that exists, man.
Oh, that's sweet.
We'll have to check that out someday. Maybe fly down there or something.
Hang out.
All right. What else do we have on the agenda to talk about, Stuart?
So,
What
I
do you
mean,
have?
one of the things that I kind of wanted to mention. So, we talked kind of about the future where we think gaming's going.
Uh-huh.
I think one of the big things we're going to talk about today is just microtransactions. We'll get to that, but in the past, there really didn't exist. Beginning early 2000 or early 90s,
Yeah.
80s, 2000s, even up to 2010, 2012, they really weren't a factor. I mean, when you bought a game then, when you paid the $60, you got everything. Now you might have to work a little bit in the game and unlock things, but you didn't have to pay any extra money. $60 got you the entirety. At that point, it was just nowadays, it feels like the theme is very much, hey, give us $60 for a potentially unfinished game because there's a crap load of bugs in there that we're going to patch out later. And then, if you want other things, pay us more money to unlock the stuff in the like. It doesn't make sense. It makes sense. Greed. They want money. Whatever. I
Yeah.
think the most notable one we've talked about before is Star Wars Battlefront 2. I mean, everything, pretty much everything was locked behind a paywall. Now, you could technically, like with the heroes, for instance. So if you play multiplayer, you want like I don't know, Darth Vader, right? You more or less had to spend money. Now, technically speaking, you could work in the game, get currency in the game to unlock the character. But I saw on Reddit that it was like 40 hours to unlock one character.
Jeez.
40, like an ungodly amount of time for one thing in a game. And that was really who made that game? Was that Activision?
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, EA. It was EA, which Activision and EA are the worst. They're the most notorious for this. But EA, when someone was complaining about that on Reddit, they came out with a horrible response. And so basically, you had to spend $80 to unlock the character. And I'm actually just going to read this off one of the websites. So the website I'm reading this off is intelligenteconomist.com. The recent news of Electronic Arts' Star Wars Battlefront 2 video game revisited the controversial business model in the video game industry called microtransactions. The controversy erupted when a user on Reddit reported that he had to spend $80 to unlock Darth Vader. EA's
God.
response to that threat didn't do them any favors. They suggested the system was designed to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. Pride and accomplishment. Nick, good job on spending $80 to unlock this game. Great job, dude. Like,
Yeah.
are you serious? Like, how? No one wants to do that. So it went on further, and of course, EA tried to brush this off because EA, and they said you didn't have to spend any money to unlock these awards. You could do so by playing the game and grinding away.
Mm-hmm.
Grinding is definitely not for everybody. I love grinding for stuff, but if it's an unrealistic grind where it's obviously just a money grab, then go pounds.
Yeah.
But the Redditors, as Redditors will do, they compiled a spreadsheet of how long certain things would take. And it's mind blowing that EA thinks people would spend 40 hours to unlock a single popular character. And essentially, it came down to very obviously that EA just designed it for people to spend money. Now, with all the backlash that they got, which was a lot of backlash, they actually took microtransactions out of the game. Don't know. I feel like they put them back in. I'm not 100% positive on that. But
Yeah.
EA is notorious for microtransactions, just kind of being a scummy company.
Yeah, I mean that's true. They've had a lot of problems when it comes to trying to make extra money on top of their money. I've been trying to figure out when the first microtransaction was actually appeared, but I got mixed reviews. A lot of people said from World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, other games such as like Dead Space. But with that being said, basically, I mean, and everybody could probably agree with this, the only reason microtransactions exist is because people buy them, they make money off of them, and until people stop buying them, microtransactions will always exist, more than likely. So,
Two things with that. Um, the controversy really started, I think, with Battlefront 2. Obviously, there was stuff before that, namely iPhone, like phone apps. A
mhm.
lot of those, for like Clash of Clans, for instance, buy the diamonds to be gems, whatever they're called, to be able to upgrade things faster and whatnot. That's kind of where I pretty much trace it back to. I mean, that's where a lot of the money for those type of games is made. Um, but like, I don't personally speaking, I don't think microtransactions are bad. I really don't. I think
I
they
think they're
can be a very
bad
necessary
when
part.
they unlock certain parts of the game. I think that's
Right,
bad.
and that's what that's exactly it. I think if there's an impact to the actual game itself, you spend real money and the gameplay is then affected by it in like a multiplayer game at least. I don't care about single player. That doesn't really. But in a
Yeah.
multiplayer aspect, if you can buy things with real money in the game that benefit you and put you at an advantage above those who don't spend the money, that's not okay. Call of Duty's done this countless times. How many weapons can you buy by spending real
Yeah.
money in game, right? Now, I think Black Ops 4 eventually got to this. You and I had stopped playing it at that point. We started having weapons in crates
It is.
because
You would
that's
have to buy the
cancer.
season pass and literally grind your way up to that, or you could buy your way all the way up there.
Right.
Which, if you wanted to buy your way to level 100, it was literally like $100 or something ridiculous.
And I don't think anyone, well, there's tons of people in the world that would definitely argue this. I don't think you would disagree with me that Siege does microtransactions the best.
For skins, but also, I mean, Apex does it pretty well, and so does PUBG and all of that. I mean, you can't buy any kind of guns or anything, or any actual
True.
weapons.
I mean, I think the benefit of Siege, though, is the majority of things that you can actually spend real money on, you can also use in game currency.
Well,
Apex, you
that's
can't do
true.
that. PUBG, you can't do that, I don't think.
You can
Um,
still unlock things from PUBG. You can buy loot crates, but you can't buy exactly what you want from
right.
PUBG.
That's why I love Siege so much, and why I think they've done it super well. Is essentially everything they put in the game you can earn in almost. Now, some of the special events they don't let you do that, which is annoying, but fine. I get it. You need to
Hmm.
make money.
Well, the
Um,
elite skins you can't earn.
yeah, elite skins, true. Yeah, that's another aspect where they make a lot of money. Which again, I don't mind. That doesn't bother me.
Hmm.
It's just it drives me wild when there's just this obvious difference in advantage by spending real money. That there's an
Yeah.
incentive to, hey, you want the best, you want to be the best, buy things, spend real money instead
Well,
of working hard and
yeah. That I mean, that's really, especially in sport games, like the Madden games. You could buy. I mean, you could dump a ton of
Mhm.
money in that and have the best team in the world, just because you spent a ton more money than anybody else did. And now you have this quarterback that's just amazing. He doesn't miss his
Mhm.
shots. The receivers are amazing. They don't ever drop or fumble the ball. So, I mean, sports games are big into pay to win, basically. Um, I
Which
don't.
is wild to me because it's the same game every year.
I know, but people literally dump tons of money into that. Sports games are insane. I mean, I don't really ever buy sports games. Actually, I can't remember the last time I bought a
I
sports
don't.
game. But yeah, they're a money maker, and that's why they keep making them every year, because they know that people
Oh,
will buy the game and literally buy new cards in order to play. So
right.
I don't know. I mean, it's almost basically the same reason that Call of Duty continues to make games. I mean, literally, Call of Duty went from amazing to why am I floating through space to all right, I'm back on the ground again. So
Mm,
I don't know exactly what Call of Duty's future looks like. I mean, honestly, they could probably stop at Modern Warfare right now, and I would be fine with it, because I feel like they're back to where they need to be. So the next game they make is going to be basically that. So
mm.
I don't know. I really feel like
They're never gonna
Battlefield and
stop.
Call of Duty, no, but I really feel like Battlefield and Call of Duty are dead. I mean, they're literally where they're at. You know what I mean? I don't feel like they could go any further. I feel like there needs to be a bigger franchise that rises up and takes over the Call of Duty and the Battlefield scene.
I don't
But
know. Me though.
I don't think they're ever good, really. I mean, because what?
Battlefield's definitely coming back. There's no doubt about that. Their next game they're going to release is probably going to be a modern boots on the ground type thing.
Yeah, it'll be more like Battlefield 4, and
Yeah.
which will be cool. I really hope that they do, because I would like to play. I mean, I would probably buy that because I enjoyed Battlefield 4. So, I mean, once they come back to reality with modern guns, which is what basically everybody wants, I don't see what else they could do from there, really, other than continue to make, I guess, better engines and updating the game, make the visuals better. That's about it.
Well, Battlefield, for the most part, always had pretty decent engines.
They did, yeah.
Since Battlefield 3. I mean, I never really got into like the bad or Battlefield 3. I think Battlefield 3 was the pinnacle. I don't think 4 was as good as 3.
Yeah,
But
3 was really good.
I've always enjoyed Battlefield more than Call of Duty. Always. I think
Oh,
they just flowed better. Now, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5 were trash.
yeah, those are terrible.
Not gonna touch those with a 4-foot pole that's attached to a 12-foot pole to make it 16 feet because
Jeez.
that was a mess right there. But anyway, I would like to see Battlefield come back. I think they have the ability to. They didn't come out with a game this year, right?
Don't believe
It
they've
was
come out
last
with
year
a
when
game
5
yet.
came out.
No, because
wanna say.
they released their battle royale.
Yikes.
Yeah, their battle royale was, I don't believe it was extra, but when did Firestorm come out? Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think microtransactions aren't going anywhere. While, if they're done correctly, I have absolutely zero issue. Just don't make it pay to win. Just don't make it pay to win. It's just not a good idea. It breaks the balance of game, and it kills your community.
Yeah, so Battlefield or Firestorm was released on March 25th, so I would imagine that they were working on something there. But it also says EA has announced that DICE is currently working on a new Battlefield game, but it won't arrive in the next calendar year, as many expect. Instead, the next Battlefield title will ship in late 2022,
Wow.
around April to March, somewhere in that area.
2022?
Yeah. Well, it could be, it says runs between April 2021 and March 2022.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with that. Take the time we need to make a good game.
I would hope so. I've seen people take a lot of time to make games, and then the games turn out to be shit. Hashtag Fallout. The new Fallout. That's sad.
What's the last good Fallout game? New Vegas, probably.
New Vegas was really good. I actually liked all of the Fallouts up to the newest one. I mean, I played
The newest one being Fallout 4.
Fallout
or
4, yeah.
76? Okay.
Yeah, Fallout 76. Nobody likes that.
Oh, we forgot to talk about Fallout 76's Battle Royale when we did that last week.
I didn't even know that Fallout 76
Yeah,
had a
they
Battle
had
Royale.
one. Yeah,
Really?
it was horrible.
Huh. Oh, you
I
know
think
what?
that is
I
bad,
actually
though,
did.
as far
I
as
heard about that a little bit, about their 76 Royale. I actually watched a little bit of it, and I was like, what is this? No, I mean, they're not that kind of game. They're not that kind of game at all.
They're not.
They're barely a multiplayer game. They can't even do that right. I mean, what the hell? If that's what I don't understand, man. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Bethesda? Just stay with what you like. Single player games, that's what you're good at. You don't see what is it? Project Red going out making multiplayer games. No, they stick to the single player games because they know that's what they're the best at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Witcher, dude. I love that game. That's the best game. I would put that up there with Skyrim. Literally, I loved The Witcher 3. That was an amazing game. And they're not going out there making stupid battle royales right now. What are you doing? I don't know.
Witcher 3 Battle Royale.
Yeah, that would be wild. That would actually be kind of cool, though, for real. Like,
has there been a Battle Royale with like swords and stuff? I don't think so, right?
now there has been a sword game on PC. It wasn't necessarily. It was more of like a multiplayer, like maybe 32 versus 32 kind of thing. But nothing like that. That'd be kind of interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Swords and arrows and stuff. That would be something to see. You know what I would really like? Have you ever played Crysis?
Long time ago.
So Crysis, you had like all these different things that you could do. You could like morph into. You could pretty much become invisible by just copying the things around you. Stealth was big. Just a bunch of different stuff. That would be kind of cool. My shift button's broken. By the way, I just realized that. But anyway,
everyone was watching. Everyone that's listening was wanting to know.
I know. But anyway, I mean, that would be kind of cool. Like a a futuristic, like a really futuristic kind of battle royale would be interesting. I still love the battle royales, dude. I really wish that they would come in full force. I hope that somebody makes one that's really good compared to Apex and PUBG. I
Good
mean,
luck beating Apex, in my opinion.
I know, but we've already talked about battle royales last week.
So let's move on.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts with the whole microtransaction? I've talked a lot about it. I want to hear what you guys.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, microtransactions are okay. I'm not a big fan of it, especially when they unlock certain things in the game, like we've said, like
Mhm.
different stories in the game or progress you to be a better player in the game. But most of the time, like literally, especially in Battlefield, or not Battlefield, Black Ops, when I played that and people had the new guns and everything unlocked, it wasn't too crazy of a difference because you still had pretty much the meta guns unlocked. But they were a little overpowered, the new guns that you could buy. So I don't know. I feel like microtransactions in general, I wish they would just disappear. I wish that you could just literally buy the game, get the game for what you paid for, and then unlock things through in-game currency. Now, if it's a free-to-play game, microtransactions I feel are fine in there because they need to
Mhm.
make money some way, somehow. I mean, they can't literally give you the game for free, especially a game of like Apex standards, because I'm sure that that took a lot of money to make that game. And then they have to make some kind of reimbursement back on that.
Right, but I will argue that with like Fortnite and Apex, there's no game breaking mechanics from the micro. No benefit of buying stuff.
No, that's correct. Yeah,
I
you're right.
translate.
You're right. And I mean, I wasn't trying to say that there
Mhm.
was. I was just saying that in general that it would be it's good to have for a free to play game.
Right.
Um, because like I said, they got to make money somehow.
Mhm.
Plus, free to play games are nice because I hate, dude. I don't know about you. I remember when games were pretty cheap. Now games are at the $60, $65 mark, and it's like, dang, I'm paying this much money for a game right now. That's wild.
Yeah, dude, I agree 100%. Like, I just recently bought the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Absolutely fantastic game. Amazing. Like, it was so much fun. I haven't really had a taste of that type of Star Wars action in a while. It was amazing. Like, I don't have any bad things to say outside of the fact that I spent $60.
Yeah.
It's not a $60 game. It's not. It's a single player. There's really not much replayability. You play it once, maybe play it on higher difficulty after.
Hmm.
I don't see myself playing it more than twice.
Yeah.
$60 is too steep. $40, yeah, it'd be a perfect $40 game. So
Yeah.
if there's anyone who's like waiting to like hear about it, or like, hey, I want to get this game, what do you think? Absolutely get it, but wait for it to go on sale. Don't
Hmm.
spend 60. Not worth
Well, when video games first came out, most of them were $50. I mean, literally, you bought a new
it.
game, it was $50, and then all of a sudden, next year rolls around, and now they're 60. But yeah, I feel like it is nice, especially I know there's going to be a Steam sale coming up soon. I like that. I like that they cut the prices down a little bit, even on the newer games, which is nice because I can cop a game that's normally $60 for like 50 or 45. I
Hmm.
mean, because honestly, the games are, I know there's a lot that goes into video games, and I know that they have to pay a ton of people in order to make these games,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I mean, $50 to $60 isn't too much of a leap for a general consumer, but for some people, man, that's a lot. $10 is a
Hmm.
lot of
I
money.
agree.
So I don't know. What else do we have on the schedule here?
Ooh, uh, honestly, I think that about covers what we really had to talk about.
Yeah, we did kind of go off on a rant. Yeah, today was mainly a rant about video games in general. Um, so to sum up everything, let's just give you my perspective, and then I'll turn it over to Stu from his perspective of the future
Mhm.
of gaming. So this is how I picture the future of gaming. I feel like esports are going to be a lot bigger. I feel like we're going to be watching them on TV, that they'll be as popular as the NFL is, as baseball is, and everything like that. I feel like we'll be big time and even betting on these matches and everything of who's going to win.
Mhm.
You'll know the players of their rosters, you'll know everything about them, their statistics, and all kinds of things, just like football. Like I said, I feel like esports will be big. I feel like Xbox, PlayStation, PC, all of those are still going to be around. I'm talking maybe 5 years or so from now. That those will still be probably the main
Hmm.
four. I don't feel like anything's going to come out of left field and just make the gaming industry shake. I just
Right.
don't feel like there's a market for it unless you can literally make an Xbox basically the same standard of an Xbox for like $100 or $200. Then people might be like, bet. But there's no way. I mean, the internal of an Xbox, it costs too much. I mean, all the stuff that they use, even though it's probably lower grade stuff than we would really want, and they obviously make a profit off of it somehow. Um, but I just don't see anybody being able to make it that cheap.
Mm.
Battle royales, I feel like in 5 years they'll probably be dead. I don't feel like there'll be any more battle royales.
F in chat.
Yeah. First person shooters, I believe, will continue to expand and become more and more popular over time. Games like Fortnite, there's definitely a big market for the Fortnite genre. Now, will it still be a battle royale or maybe into more of a close first person shooter? I'm not sure. We just have to see from there. But that's basically my thoughts for the next 5 years of what gaming will turn into. Now, what about you, Stu?
I pretty much agree with everything you said. I don't want to have to reiterate everything, but esports definitely be a lot bigger than it is now. Microtransactions,
Oh,
unfortunately,
yeah.
probably aren't going anywhere. They're going to be sticking around. There's just too much money.
Hmm.
You got a fact actually about the whole transactions. You want to read that off?
I did. I'll actually have to look it up again real quick. I actually clicked off of it. Um, what was I
But
gonna
yeah,
say?
so I mean, I think they're going to stick around. I do believe bigger, like you said, it's probably going to mainly be Sony, Microsoft, and PC stuff.
Hmm.
I don't, like you said, don't see another one coming out of left field. Don't know how well the Google Stadia is going to do. Time will tell. Just I don't know, streaming services like that. I don't know if it's mainstream. It like, can it even work with an Xbox and a PlayStation? Can you play with your friends?
Probably not.
That's
But that
that's
that
the
actually
kicker.
that brings into a bigger thing before we wrap all this up is the crossplay. Crossplay is it's awesome. I've been wanting crossplay forever. I've always been like,
Hmm.
why can't I play with somebody on PlayStation? Why can't I play against somebody on PC? That doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
But now I feel like more and more games will implement crossplay. I feel like all of them will have crossplay.
I want to point fingers, but it was all Sony's fault.
I
They
do
took
kind of agree with that.
way too long to agree.
Yeah.
I remember a while ago. This was a couple years. There was a bug on Rocket League where Xbox players and PlayStation players were playing together. Like there was some sort of bug issue at like the Rocket League servers that like something got flipped, a switch, something where crossplay was happening. Like it was possible, and it blew up on Reddit. People were like, "Okay, so clearly this is okay. Clearly this works. Why
Hmm.
can't we?" And
Yeah.
Xbox, Microsoft has been very, very vocal recently, up until the last couple years, or up until recently, until crossplay has been a thing in Fortnite and Call of Duty, where they've been like, "Hey, we're wanting to do crossplay. We're ready to push it." Sony's the one that's not doing, and that was a fact. Sony didn't want to do crossplay because they sold way more than Xbox. And I don't know how that's the issue, right? Like, oh, we sold way more consoles. We sold way more PS4s than we did, and Xbox sold. Like, okay, and
Yeah.
like they were essentially wanting to make people buy a PlayStation, essentially. Now, super scummy, right? I mean, I think in general, gaming is gonna go so much further if we work together. As corny as that sounds, and as cliche as that is,
Hmm.
like that's truth. Like, there's no growth in separation.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But in order to go back to the statistic that I wanted to tell you guys as well. So in 2017, the video games market is expected to be worth over 90 billion US dollars by 2020 from nearly 78.61 billion in 2017. So that's how much the gaming market was for, I guess, a whole.
Mhm.
Now, from microtransactions in the console world, console microtransaction market value in the US in 2017 was $2.94 billion.
Insane.
That's insane. That's a video game market for everything. That's PC, Xbox, and everything was 78.61 billion in 2017. Just
That's
consoles
wild.
themselves spent
In the United
almost
States, even.
in the United States.
And there's what, like, there's around 100, or sorry, there's around like 350 million people. Very, very rough estimate.
Yeah,
But I mean, you cut that in half, even. You could probably say 30% of that are people playing video games. Maybe a little
exactly.
more,
Well,
40%.
here's another statistic. It says there are more than 2.5 billion video gamers from all over the world, according to the European mobile game market in 2016. And I'm sure it's 2019 now, almost 2020. I'm sure that number has gone even higher by now. I will say that actually the highest current places that play video games is the United States, China, Sweden, Norway, Japan, and
Sweden?
yeah, Sweden, baby. I mean,
Wow.
PewDiePie came from there, dude. So people are just trying to be the next PewDiePie. You know what I'm saying?
Right, you're right.
And then also Alaska.
Wait,
Which
what?
that makes sense because what the hell are you doing up in Alaska? To be honest,
Polar bears get consoles? Like, what?
I don't know, bro.
What? All
So,
right.
but that's just saying. I mean, there's a ton of money in microtransactions.
Mhm.
So that's one of the reasons that they'll never stop. So.
Agreed.
But with all that being said, I think we're ready to wrap it up. You guys have listened to us babble long enough. We always appreciate you guys checking us out. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and YouTube at Gaming is the Mission on either one. Obviously, if you made it here, you're probably following us, so we do appreciate that. If you're not following, be sure to follow us on Instagram and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We thank you guys for listening, and until the next one, peace.
Peace.